evening and welcome to the Paranormal Lens. My name is Chad Thomas with Jotnik's Paranormal. That guy over there is Jamie Widener somewhere.
Yeah,
Um,
over here. Yeah, we're there. Wherever. You know what? Every time we do this, I always point the wrong way no matter what. So it just
we're just
there.
going to not point anymore.
Present.
Yep. So, how are you doing, Jamie?
So it's been a day. It's been a
Okay.
day. I took off yesterday from work. It was my dad's funeral
Okay.
service day. So there we go. But coming back in on a Tuesday, which is now a Monday for me, was the longest day ever
I
today.
bet.
And kudos to my team. They took good care of me yesterday. The stuff that needed to get done, but there's all the other stuff on the side of it. Questions that led to things and that and other stuff. A lot of follow up with people. So it's just I've had a 2 day day.
It sounds
So
like it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's good to be back though. Here we
Good.
are. Right
Good.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day, no matter what on a Tuesday, we got this to look forward to. So,
And
but
I feel like we have a really special guest, Jamie.
I agree.
I'm excited about tonight. So why don't we just jump right into it?
Well, I got to ask how was your week? What's going on? Like, be fair.
It's been busy. As I have told you before, I've started helping out at the high school with the building the set, and
Yep.
that is 2 nights a week. And I have a
Feels
great
like four.
feels like four sometimes, but I have a great crew of kids. I got the set drawings printed out finally. We got through that with the designers, and I've got a set to build, and I have a puppy jumping up on my
I
lap.
see. Hey, Maggie.
And it's been great. So looking forward to actually getting some materials and getting some stuff built to make it look like we're getting somewhere.
The
Even
doing part of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. I
we've gotten
agree.
a lot of training done in the last couple of weeks, so now it's time to start building. So
Yep. Practiced
yeah,
application. Yep.
yep.
Cool.
So
All right. It's coming together. It's
it is.
happening.
So
The magic of theater.
the magic of theater. So on that note, I want to bring on Megan Baum. She's the managing director of Gretna Theatre and the director of Whispers in the Dark, which is their it's the first show, I just found this out, of their 99th season. So let's bring Megan on, and she can tell us a little bit more.
Hey.
Hi.
Here we hit the button twice. I'm always,
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
of course, it's our pleasure. So how are you tonight, Megan?
I'm great. It's lovely to be here and to talk about, some of my favorite things, which are the spooky and the dark and the and theater. So
Uh,
like I cannot complain.
well, good.
Absolutely. And they're our favorite things too. So that's all the more perfect.
hmm
Yeah.
So So tell us a little bit about you and what you do at Gretna Theatre. Let's start with that.
Sure. So I am in my fourth year with Gretna Theatre as the managing director. So I kind of do the operations side of things, all the things behind the scenes that most people, you know, don't know happens or don't want to know happens, which fair. And then I am very privileged and honored to have this be my first show directing with Gretna Theatre. I've directed before, but it's my first shot here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, so tell us a little bit about how you got here with this show. Like it sounds to me like we talked a little bit earlier. It sounds to me like been an interesting process.
It really is. This our fall show is unlike anything that we ever do anywhere. It is instead of being on stage, it's actually a very immersive experience. So what it does is it actually takes you through the woods of Mount Gretna. We've done it before with a show called Nevermore, which is all the works of Edgar Allan, not all, but
Yeah.
some favorite works of Edgar Allan Poe. Last year, we did The Revenge of the Headless Horseman. So that was the Headless Horseman with a Pennsylvania twist. And this year, we're really excited to be bringing Whispers in the Dark, the chilling world of urban legends. So we are bringing some classics that you know and probably some locals that maybe you don't. And we are able to work with this amazing organization called Creative Works of Lancaster.
Mhm.
They have written our monologues and scenes for us, and they are just phenomenal. we love to work with our local partners. So being able to work with them has been amazing. Lydia Brubaker is the executive director there. She's phenomenal. And she hooked us up with three amazing, amazing local playwrights. So it's really been a lovely process.
Okay.
We are finalizing that now, and then we get to start putting it on its feet next week.
Okay. And good. Well, Jamie, you have like you might have a question. Go ahead.
I'm listening in. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. I was just going to say, do you mind sharing who the playwrights are on this one?
Well, actually, hold on. I do want to say something before we go. So we've talked about this, but we haven't said what this is yet. So what's the name of this program?
Oh,
So it's Whispers in the Dark, the chilling world of urban legends. Um, and so the way this kind of works, which I think most people do not, it's a little different than the average theater goer, is that you're actually walking. So what happens is you get pulled into the story by one of our amazing artists. They're going to tell you an urban legend, and then next thing you know, you're going to find yourself being pulled in another direction towards another artist who's going to tell you another story, and then so on and so forth for about an hour and 15 minutes. As you go through the woods and you go through different locations, and it's dark and spooky, and we get to tell you these phenomenal stories.
wow. It sounds amazing.
Yes.
You had me at dark and spooky, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, we're in. Actually, I am in. I'm going to be honest with you. I have tickets already, so I'll see you. I'll see you on Friday the 10th.
Good.
I think the late program that night, so the 8 o'clock run. So making sure it's nice and extra dark.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of the extra dark. That's definitely where I like to live. So I prefer the later shows, but some people like to be, I get it if it's not your thing, that you like to come when there's still a little sunlight.
That takes the fun out of it for me. So when I
Yeah.
get my tickets, I'll be definitely getting for the later show, and we already have our first road trip comment here,
There
Jamie.
it is.
So,
Perfect.
and
Love it.
actually,
I
I
think
want
I think it's a tell of what time you attend by what time your dinner is, right?
Yes, yes,
It's usually part of it, whether you're an early or late dinner doer.
yes. For
and
sure.
I do want to point out that Heather and Bert Lynch, who are two of our faithful viewers, it was actually Bert who sent Jamie and I
Yep.
the promo for this and said, "Hey, check this out." And when I
Oh,
saw
thank
it,
you so much. We're so grateful for you.
I was like, we got to work something out here. So I'm glad that he did that and this all worked out because
Yeah, definitely.
it's great to talk to you and find out more. So,
Yeah, it's fun, and we do also work with a lovely partnership with one of our local restaurants, which is the Porch and Pantry. So
mm,
they provide food, beverages. My favorite is the hot cider. You can't beat that walking through the cold woods with a hot cup of cider. It also, for me, I need something to do with my hands. So holding a cup of hot cider usually keeps me from grabbing anybody. Um,
so
but yeah, they're wonderful. And so there's definitely, we have snacks and food there. And then also we are just in a beautiful community that has other eating options if you need something
mhm.
a little different or, want to go down the road a little bit afterwards.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
So, so we were talking about you worked with the Creative Works of Lancaster,
Mhm.
and which artists are you working with
So
specifically?
we are working with Frith Rooney, Alex Bannon, and Rachel Strayer. They are the three artists who have written six of the monologues, and then I wrote the seventh. So they did the majority of the heavy lifting, and they are amazing. And I'm really excited to see what they have out there.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so how do you go about putting a show like this literally on its feet? Like,
Yeah.
That was my question too. Like how from thought
Yeah,
to
so from
practice.
start to finish, it's kind of what resonates. So with partnering with Creative Works, we were able to be like, hey, here's the theme, like, and maybe a couple suggestions, and let's see where we go with it and what resonates with the writers, and then what resonates with us as being able to put a visualization of what we want up And of course, like we're in this beautiful location, Mount Gretna is gorgeous,
Hmm.
but it gets very dark at night, and I don't think that people realize how dark it really gets. So we can really lean into that spooky aspect.
Hmm.
And with what these amazing writers put out, we were able to come up with all of the urban legends that really kind of fit into the spaces that we use. So whether you're dealing with the Bigfoot park ranger, or whether you are dealing with a cannibal prospector, you have all these different places that you can
Hmm.
go to find the spooky and creepy and dark, and it all kind of just fell into place, as you know, the beauty of live theater sometimes does.
Hmm. That's really cool. And I guess it's a little bit different because, when you're doing a traditional show, you're blocking on a stage and you've got all that, but not wanting to, dig too far into it for you, but you're not on a stage.
Wow.
You're
So we are in the elements. We are, of course, unless it rains, then we do pull things into the playhouse so that it is a little bit different, but it still translates really well. Um, but weather permitting, you are in the Bigfoot Preserve. You are listening to the Bell Witch talk about her life in front of what elements we choose. And so we have a lot of fun as a staff being able to walk through Mount Gretna and be like, ooh, that works there. And that area is really good for this one. And kind of find the flow of what the show wants to be organically.
wow. Yeah. I it's just I'm from the technical side, so having this side of the creative side is just it's really intriguing to me, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to see how you guys pull it off. So,
Well, and it is really interesting also from the technical side because we are on location. So we have to get a little creative sometimes with how we do our technical things. And
hmm
it is pretty low tech sometimes. Sometimes the only thing you need is a construction light and a really good angle. And that can just make everything for you.
right.
So yeah, it's really exciting to have to be able to play with a different aspect of theater than when you are restricted to a stage.
Yeah, I
Very
could see
cool.
that. Yeah. Well, it's the idea. The creative folks come up with the ideas, and the technical folks have to make it happen. And there's no. I could speak from some experience here too that translation isn't always obvious,
Mhm.
but with collaboration and intentionality, you really can make some magic happen, and that's what theater is for so many people. It's just straight magic. Like how they do that. We take it for granted. I think a lot of times we just don't see it. We don't think enough about it because we're immersed in the story. But
Right.
and both sides don't get enough credit there because of it. Like in a good presentation, you shouldn't see the seams,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
or
It
the
it
edges.
should just be organic.
Mhm.
It really is the word that like I think sometimes gets overplayed, but it is the most natural description for what happens is you should feel like you lose what's around you and you become immersed in what's in front of you.
Yep.
That's really cool. So,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you know who this question came from, but we do have a question here.
Yes.
You can tell everybody who she is. So,
So Gracie Carson is amazing. She is our digital media extraordinaire. We would not be able to do anything that we do without her. She is phenomenal.
okay.
She is also an independent contractor. So if anybody ever needs some like promo help, hit her up. She's phenomenal. Um, but our spots in Mount Gretna where the performances are, we start at the porch and pantry, and then we kind of weave up and behind this lovely grassy area of Mount Gretna over towards the playhouse, and then we circle around the playhouse and finish in the playhouse. So it's a lovely little walk. It is a little dark and a little spooky, but not too dark and not too spooky. So you can definitely see where you're going. If we have any guests who are ADA required, please just reach out to us. We want to make sure that you also can come see this, and we have accommodations for that as well. So this is, even though it is a walking tour, we want to make sure that we are accessible to everyone. So there is no restrictions, even though there is walking. We just direct you a little bit different path than
Right.
some of the standards.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And about how any idea how long of a walk it is? I mean,
So it's a lot of stop and start because we do get this question a lot. There are places where there are benches and things if you do need to sit. But the whole production runs about an hour and 10, hour and 15. I think that can be a little confusing because what you see on our website when you are getting tickets is that we have shows starting every 30 minutes.
right,
But because this is a progression and people are walking, that's why we do that, so that we keep things moving and nobody runs into anybody else, and it makes the night move really seamlessly.
okay,
So even though it's every 30 minutes, you never see the other group unless you want to.
okay.
Okay.
So knowing that it's like that, and I know you said you haven't started rehearsals yet, but how is this different for an actor? Because typically you're on stage for, and you're on stage for scenes and then you're off, but now you're doing the same scene over and over
Yes.
with a, so you're doing a lot of shows in one night basically.
So you're doing 4 shows in one night, and I think the really difficult part of that is that, the actors can't get comfortable, because as soon as you get comfortable and you settle in, you lose that edge, and so, I'm really excited with the group that we have. I know how they all work, most of them, so I'm able to be like, "All right," and they know this, like, they know each one has got to be like the first one of the night.
Right.
And so it is a challenge for them. But I think that's one of the things that makes theater and acting so much fun is those things where you find that moment and then you go, "Ooh, I got to remember to bring that to the next one." And because you get 4 opportunities in a night, that's a rare opportunity for an actor. I can't tell you the number of times I've been on stage and like left and been like, "I got to remember that for tomorrow." uh, and hope I remember it through a work day, through children and all the things, that I remember that moment tomorrow when I'm on stage. So this gives them a lot of repetition. It gives them the ability to play a little bit more than maybe they would have in one night. And I think it just is a really unique opportunity on the performing side of things.
Very cool. So,
Understood. Yeah. And with live performances, there's probably some creative liberty in
So
the.
yeah, I mean, I think the creative liberty really starts actually with the writing process because what we've been able to do is take these really classic, in some cases, and less classic in others, and kind of make them into something that maybe puts a twist on what you think you know. And that's where it starts. And then the actor gets to take that and say, what does that mean for me? How do I put that into my version of this? Because maybe what I would do for Bloody Mary would be different than what the next person would do for Bloody Mary. And whereas I might play it very extroverted, maybe someone else plays it introverted. And all of that is, I keep coming back to like the joy of live theater, but
right.
it is the ability that that actor gets to own and bring what they want. And my job as the director is to kind of like, they bring the clay and I kind of just shape it a little bit. I like to think that it's really their story. And my job as the director is to just make it the best story that they can do. And that starts with them and what they feel naturally and what they feel organically. There's that word again. When they show up to rehearsal and like, I really connect here and like this resonates with me. So, how do we pull that through and how do we bring that life to the character? Because these characters have to feel real, they have to feel engaging, or you lose your audience's interest.
It's true. Yeah, it's a good point. With respects to the vignettes, then as we'll call them, I guess.
Yeah.
How long? How much time is committed to each of these in general? I mean, I'm not
So,
asking for the
yeah,
minute, but
absolutely. The shortest is probably about 6 to 8 minutes, and then the longest is maybe 10 to 12.
Okay.
And so they're not really long, but we've got 7 of them. So that's what makes it that hour to an hour and 15, depending on how quickly we move through.
Mm.
You can tell a lot in 5 to 7 minutes, no doubt.
You
Much
really
less
do.
longer.
You have no idea how fast or how slow a couple minutes can be, depending on what end you're on.
True.
Do you want to? I know you said you listened to some of our podcasts, and you
Yeah,
definitely listened to one. Is there anything you want to dig into a little deeper about what we're going to be sharing in the
sure.
woods up there?
Sure. So, I think I can at least give a little bit of an overview of all of them without ruining too much.
Hmm.
So we are doing 7 of these urban legends. I'm just going to go through the order of the show just because that helps my brain.
Sure.
Um, so we start with the hook, which is also known as the Hook Man, and it's that very classic tale of lovers on a lover's lane, and then there's this maniac. But ours is a little bit different. So we don't really have lovers on a lover's lane, but we do have Penhurst Asylum in there.
Okay.
And we kind of get the origin story of where the hook or the hook man came from a little bit. And so I'm also a huge nerd, and I just recently graduated from law school, and I actually studied the Penhurst Asylum lawsuit that closed down Penhurst.
Okay.
So that was like for me really fun to be able to be like, ooh, backstory. Um,
Hmm.
I that's just where my heart goes. So after that, we get to journey into something that I don't know that many people know, but that Mount Gretna has the only Bigfoot preserve in the nation. And we get to talk to a park ranger who runs the Bigfoot Preserve, who has some very harsh feelings about the albatwitch, which I think is really fun and funny. And we get to hear a lot of local lore based off of the Bigfoot Preserve. It is not the albatwitch preserve. Don't call it that. She will get very angry. Uh, and then after that, we get to go and we go to one of your episodes that you did that I love listening to, which is the Bell Witch. Um, I love this legend. It's one of my favorites. I love listening to it. I love the fact that like the Jackson party like comes across like this. It's just wild.
Hmm.
So it's really fun to like take this and maybe make it a little bit more of what I would call a psychological thriller. And so we get to meet Betsy and Kate. And is it Betsy? Is it Kate? We don't know. We're gonna find out. So that's a really fun ability to bring some little Southern lore up here to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and that is one of our period pieces. And I love a period piece. Like that is just the 1800s speaks to my soul. So that's a really fun story.
Okay.
After that, we journey to the unexpected passenger who keeps showing up at the playhouse in his car, and he doesn't really know why, but he does remember that he keeps picking up these people, these hitchhikers, and yet somehow he keeps ending up at our playhouse. So he gets to tell that tale before we move on to a local legend, the Hounds of Colebrook. This is one I'm going to skim over a little bit because I don't think a lot of people know it. And I think that it's really unique and it's really creepy. And there's like those dogs who doesn't love dogs, and a really mean jerk who does terrible things to the dogs and gets his comeuppance. So that's as much as I'll give on that.
Okay.
And then we go into Bloody Mary. But this is a high schooler who maybe got a little more than she bargained for when she tries to do that old game of saying Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times. And then we close out in another one of my favorites, which is Colorado Winter 1887, where we meet Alfred Parker, who is confessing to cannibalism, but we don't know if it was actually Alfred Parker or something darker that time.
Hmm.
But there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued now.
Yes, I'm so glad.
Well, Chad, I'm going to tell you something that may not surprise you either way, but tickets are still available. So
Are they? I
They
figured.
are. Yes. And we do run for 2 weeks, which is another great thing about this. So you can come earlier October or later October. And we run 3 days a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, starting at 6:30 to 8:30 every half hour. So you can pick the time that works for you.
Actually, I do have that information here. So um, I believe those dates are right. I put them off the website.
Yes.
So, and we're not, definitely want to keep talking, but I wanted to share that since we were talking about it.
Thank
So,
you.
like, do you have a favorite? I know you said you had a couple that you really liked, but
I do. So the one that is probably my favorite, I have to be a little cautious of because I don't want to ruin it. But I love the Colorado Winter. That one I think is really fascinating because the author Alex Bannon took this from the actual transcripts of his court case. And Alfred Parker is kind of has a cult following. There's actually a musical out there about him called Cannibal, um,
oh,
Cannibal the musical.
okay.
And if you follow South Park, Trey Parker directed that show as his senior project. So that is just a little fun piece of pop culture for you. But Alfred Parker actually was a prospector and a wilderness guide. So his whole job was to make sure people survived, which I think is the irony of his story. And then he comes back and in the actual transcripts, he's not really that apologetic about what he did, which is wild to me.
Mhm.
There's so much, taboo around cannibalism, and I think it's one of
Mhm.
those things that we as human beings like can't really wrap our brains around it unless you are in the most dire of circumstances. And that's what makes Alfred's case really unique because was he actually in the most dire of circumstances or was it just an easy way out and they had things that he wanted?
That's intriguing,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, I'll have to look into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like we have some more episodes to jump in here too down the road, Jamie.
I got notes. Don't worry, I got you.
I love that.
Well,
So,
well, speaking of episodes, and I'm going to ask you this because we've done two on urban legends.
Mhm.
So, domestic one and an international version.
Yes.
So, how do you get to the place where you selected these seven of gazillions, literally out
Yeah,
there?
there are gazillions. So we really put it in the hands of the writers. And
okay.
I think that was kind of the best move for us because what spoke to them was what ended up working for us. And I think that that's what was so fascinating because Colorado Winter was not on our list.
Right.
And you're like, here it came, and it was amazing. And like being able to take something like Bigfoot that everybody knows, but make it maybe a little more lighthearted and a little more fun as we have a lot of dark and spooky around us.
Hmm.
But I also think you have to like pay homage to those classics and the ones that everybody knows.
Mhm.
And everybody knows The Hitchhiker, everybody knows The Hook, and
Yep.
everybody knows Bloody Mary.
Yep.
Like you have to bring in a good mix of the classics with a good twist of new and unique and maybe a little unheard of.
Sure. Well, there's campfire standards, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
There's a couple. The hook is obviously one of them, and everybody's got the flashlight they pull up at the last second and illuminate
Yes.
themselves. Or someone jumps in and but all those are always all of these stories. We talk about this on the episodes, but they're two things. They're educational, and I say that seriously because there's a moral basically
Oh,
in all of
yes.
them.
Very
Don't
much
do
so.
something. Don't
Mhm.
Right.
go out alone. Don't be promiscuous. Right?
Yeah.
The parking,
I
and
love
have
that
the hook
one.
hook shows up. Like that's what you're going to get if you do it. Don't pick up strangers. Don't do the anything. Right? There's always something to be told of it, but we have a need, I think, to have these tales told to us. There's something that we feel good about, perhaps, that we don't do these things, because we haven't had them happen to us. So,
Yeah.
but the cautionary tales, they all are, they make us feel good because they give us that quick spook, that we're looking for, that scare, but they're not real enough to us that they connect directly into our lives, because they're always happening to somebody else somewhere away. And the true sign of a great urban legend is it's a tale of that someone heard from someone else. It's
Yes.
never direct, so it's just distant enough that you can separate yourself.
And that's like one of the things that I love, because it is that oral history. I'm
Mhm.
going to say history in quotes,
Right.
that we're still passing down. Like, it is still continuing, and I think that that's one of the things that, like, that is the oldest form of learning lessons, is tales upon tales upon tales passed through generations, and it unites us. It's all something that, like, I think everybody can relate to, whether it's a campfire story or, a creation myth or something like that, that everybody can kind of connect to it and been like, I've heard that. I recognize that. That's familiar to me, whether it gives you the creepy crawlies or the warm fuzzies.
Yep.
Mhm.
Or it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I love a combination of both.
I agree.
That's the best kind of story. And I think that's one of the things that our artists have, or our writers have done really well, is really bring kind of like the humanity to some of these urban legends. Because I think it's really easy to look at someone like the Hook, or Bigfoot, who's supposed to be scary, and find like something like, oh, well, that explains why who they are, and maybe you don't have compassion for what they do now, but maybe you could for what they went through, and it brings a different level to just like, oh, they're a bad guy, or it's a big scary monster. Like, maybe it's not. Maybe there's more depth there and more layers there than we realize.
Yeah. Well, we joke about this a lot, like around our house, but like, superheroes are a thing, right? Like
Yes.
Marvel and all this stuff, right? So
Oh
we're a
yeah.
bunch of geeks over here too. So, but every superhero has a weakness,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Superman has kryptonite, etc. But every hero and also every villain has a backstory. There's a
Mhm.
reason they got to where they are and how they are.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not intentionally truly, like, a bad guy's not intentionally bad. It's just the circumstances and the environment and that led them to where they go. And not all heroes just are born jumping out of bed going to save burning, someone out of a burning building.
Oh
There's
yeah.
something, a catalyst that occurred. So
Mhm.
getting some feel in the story is so critical, because it's not always cut and dry. There's always more than you see.
Well, and like, speaking of like the Marvel and DC world, like, I always loved Two Face.
First of all, what side are you on? You got to pick one.
Marvel?
Okay, we're cool. We can be friends.
You're catching me. I'm a little less versed in this than I am in theater, but
They're
Two
both
Face
good. Don't worry, they're both fun.
always my favorite criminal, because he's literally the embodiment of two dualities of man. It's the same reason Jekyll and Hyde is one of my favorite novellas. Like,
Yep.
I think it's so fascinating when we can touch on those aspects of humanity that are not like, oh, this person is all bad, this person is all good. There's both,
Mhm.
because I never want to be judged by the worst thing I've done in my life on this planet. And the best thing I've ever done in my life on this planet is not it. Like, there's so much in between. And so being able to bring in this duality and this compassion, but also like, oh, at the end, maybe not great. We can really kind of find the humanity in these urban legends, because yes, I love that they're morals and things like that, but I would love to like go back and be like, well, who are the people behind the morals,
Right.
and who are the people that really embody this? And I think that's where, like, our writers have done such a great job of bringing that to life.
That's fantastic. I am so looking forward to this. I really am.
I'm so excited too. And I apologize if I like go on a tangent. Please stop me. I get
No,
really
no.
We
excited about
tangent all the time. That's what we do.
So,
Okay.
great.
so we've already said we haven't put actors to stage yet, but how long have the writers been working on this?
Hmm.
Oh, it's been a fast process. So we just got our last round of edits, some of them this week, and then we're just doing final tweaks. So it's been, I think, maybe 3 weeks since they've gone hands-on with like submitting work to us, and then us going back and forth. And they've just been, I mean, because this is not their day job, most of them have full-time jobs, families, everything else, and so they're doing this on top of that. Um,
Hmm.
and so we cannot be more grateful for them and what they do. And Creative Works of Lancaster is just a wonderful organization. They do cool, 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 unique theater. So, like, I
Hmm.
always like to throw them out there. Anything that they're doing, check them out. They're phenomenal. And they're all local.
I know some of their short writing burst things are really cool.
Yeah, yeah, like, they do 24-hour plays and
Mm.
stuff, and I think they still do their playground series, which is, similar to this, where it's, like, an on-location place, and they get people to write for the location and get local actors to put it on. So, like, definitely check them out, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad agrees.
Yeah,
That's a
for
short
a
amount of
short
time.
amount of time. So our writers get a little bit longer than our actors, and then our actors. So we are really proud to be Lebanon County's only professional theater. So we pull in local talent and professional artists to be able to do this production, and we're very lucky for that. So once our artists get it, they have about 10 days to get it up on its feet and get it rolling show ready.
Okay.
So it is a lot of work all around, and we've got a great team that's supporting us. And even our technical people, Jonathan Shuey, who's our sound engineer, he's phenomenal. We have AJ Markowski. I think I'm butchering her last name, but she's our stage manager, and AJ's been with us for a few years, and she's amazing. So we just have like a really good team around us that's like pushing us through and like getting us to where we need to be come opening night.
It's really cool.
Well, I do have a question there. So bear
Sure.
with me here, because just this is my not knowing theater very well. Like I enjoy shows, but it's like you don't know how the sausage is made moment right here. So
Of course.
when it comes to the casting of the actors, does Gretna have a cadre or a pool of knowns who are considered, or was there an open call here?
So we did do an open call. We also have our people who have done this before that love to come back and do this. So we have a really nice mix of people who are familiar faces and also new faces. And I think that's also the beauty of live theater is that we get to find people who this is their thing. Like they love the whispers in the dark kind of thing, the nevermore that we've done, and
Mhm.
that's what they come out for. But then we also get to put things out and see new faces. And a lot of times, I love to refer to us as a family. Gretna Theatre pulls people back in. So when you leave, you never really leave, which could be dark and creepy or warm and fuzzy. We love to get you back.
Well, it seems that a lot of theaters are that way, and that's what's the cool thing about theaters. You get into as an actor. I mean, I'm not an actor, but you get into a couple places, and it's like you have this family that you just like to travel between the different spaces,
It really is.
and it's really cool. And as a technician, I was really excited when certain actors would come back because it was great to work with them and see how they would do different roles on the stage, and it was always something different from them.
And it's really interesting to see people in their evolution as actors. Like when you work with an actor who's very young and like coming up, and then you get to see them as they've like grown and become this like totally different person that you barely recognize. That's like one of the coolest things on the directing side of it that I've really enjoyed doing, getting to see people as they go from local community theaters into full-fledged professional careers.
Mhm.
Um, get to be like, oh, I remember when you were like shrimp number 3 in SpongeBob.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's no
Yeah,
shrimps in SpongeBob, but you get the idea.
yeah, yeah. So,
Well, I will say this. I had never been to the theater, Gretna Theater, before the end of the year, this past
Wow.
season, and I got to see Hadestown, which was locals, um,
Yes.
and a youth production,
Mhm.
which was amazing, like truly amazing. And that's where that's my question, I guess, because knowing that cast was not traveling, it was not a stock kind of thing. Then the pool of our local talent is massive. Here
And
in Lancaster, Lebanon,
mhm,
Berks, the South Central PA region, there's a ton of opportunity. First of all, there's
a
theaters.
ton of opportunity and a ton of talent. I think that
Yes,
people think that you have to go to New York or you have to go to Philadelphia to get talent. And you can because there's pools of talent there. But we are very blessed to have so many local talented artists who are right down the road.
mm,
And they put on high quality work and they work hard. They don't work any less hard than somebody on Broadway. And it's
mhm,
really a gift to be able to work with those people and to see their talent and to be like, they're right here. They're right here in Central PA.
mhm.
yeah,
And I'm not promoting your competition, but we're all family. But I think
Yeah.
it's cool that there are so many professional and local theaters in this area that people have the opportunity to grow anywhere from a technician to a designer to a director to an
Yes,
actor. They're if you want to learn the trade, you have the opportunity here, and you
you
can go
really
through
do.
progression from community theater. You can go through the whole progression within an hour and a half, 2 hour drive,
sure.
and
Well, and I
it's
think that's something that, like, I would really challenge people to do is, like, go check out your local community theater. You're gonna see things that you would never guess that you would see, and come out and see Gretna Theatre. Like, there is nothing we are very, very unique in the fact that, first of all, we're primarily a summer stock theater, so we're open in the summer. But
hmm
let me tell you, there is something about, like, sitting in a show of Hadestown and having the rain around you and, like, being able to be under a roof watching this beautiful thing, but also nature is happening.
Yeah,
So try something new, venture into the unknown of theater from your local community theater all the way up to your high quality professional theater. It's all good.
hmm
And honestly, the arts right now more than ever need support from people who want to try something new. And I think what I love about theater, for me, for my kids, especially, is like it's live and it's right there. If something goes left, they gotta figure it out, and there's not a screen in front of you. You can't hit pause. You can't hit rewind. You just gotta go.
you just
And,
hmm
scared the hell out of a lot of people right there.
and it is like whoo, a rush.
uh,
Um,
but
and
that's
it's
what theater's
also
about. I mean, it is that rush.
yeah.
Yep.
And,
So
like, what it's such a great bonding thing, like, I've been very lucky, my kids have grown up in theater, but I love going to theater with them and then afterwards being like, "Tell me what you thought. What was your favorite thing? What bothered you? What would you have done different if you were there? Or if you were directing it, or if you were a dancer, how would you have wanted to see the choreography?" Like, it's great conversation to have with family, with kids, when appropriate. It's definitely something that gets you out of this world of technology and screens, which are great in moderation, but also there's nothing like live theater, and I will die on that hill.
and Jamie's shaking his head, and
Yeah, you won't be alone for that at all. There's a
Great, I
lot
will
of us
see
out
you
there.
on the hill.
I know I've had that conversation with
Yeah,
kids, and it's just like, and it's great when you can watch that development in their head, saying, "But I would have done it this way."
Yes, yeah,
And like we were talking about
well,
Zoe
yeah.
earlier,
There's two
and
directions here, right, to
right,
take, and
and and Zoe was going to see had gone with a friend to see several shows, and was very disappointed that they've transitioned from physical scenery to screens.
yeah,
And it was like that every show. It was like, I didn't like the video. I didn't like the
Yeah.
video. I want to see the set. I want to.
It takes you out of the world in that
Mhm,
case. Like, so it's really fascinating, and I think it creates really unique
mhm,
discussion
mhm,
for what direction even theater is heading when you're
mhm.
looking at all these advancements in technology. Yes, there is that, but there is also nothing like having a 3D, three-story house built on a set that, which I'm so sorry, Chad, that's you. You're like, please stop talking.
No, no, it's I love it though. It's
But it is amazing, and, like, they're also skills that I think people don't realize, like, I built shelves today, and the only reason I could is because I had technical theater class, and so I can, work a bandsaw and run a drill, and
Mhm,
that's, like, a great thing that I learned, and so there's so many facets to theater that I think, kind of get pushed to the wayside when you get to see the beautiful, polished, finished product, but there's so much work that goes on to get it there. Um,
how many nights have you opened a show and the paint is still drying and the the curtains are put up just
oh,
before,
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
or, like,
especially
almost
summer
crawl
school.
out of your seat when something, like, falls out of the
Mm,
sky, and you're like, "That wasn't supposed to fall," and
yep,
someone has to go, "No, they're gonna
Yeah.
figure it out."
yep, yep.
Not every production is the play that goes wrong, right?
Yeah, right?
So
Well,
so go
I
ahead.
want to before we get too far, we're drifting a little bit.
Yeah,
I will pull us back.
Yes,
I want to
please.
ask you a question directly to you, Megan.
Yes.
So you have now, as the director, you have put yourself out there
Mhm.
for this production.
Yes.
Okay, it is different
Mhm.
than traditional things that people are familiar with. So now that you've signed your name to a program around things that are spooky and we'll call it paranormal or
Mhm.
supernatural, how many unexpected conversations have you had with friends, peers, others who now, who know you about stuff like it? You open
So
the door, how many people
yeah.
come in?
So I would say I've had about 50-50. Some people just go, "Oh, that's so nice, you're doing theater," and some who go like
Hi.
yeah, and some who go like, "Yeah, but do you, like, believe that? Do you, like, mm?" And I always fall back, one of my favorite Shakespearean quotes is, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy," and that is where I like to live, and I think that, we close ourselves off to a really beautiful part of the world if we just go, "Meh, it's a cute story."
Sure.
mhm.
Well, here's the question I guess I should have asked. So Bert asked, "Does Megan believe in the paranormal?" And your feet are not to the fire for an answer on this by any means, but
No. So
the,
I will, if I can, I will share a lovely story of the paranormal with you. So, when I did my initial round of my undergraduate work, I lived in Pittsburgh, and I lived on a haunted campus, and I lived in a haunted dorm room. No one will convince me it was anything other. So it started with lights in my closet turning on, and I would get out of bed and I'd turn the light off, and I'd get back in bed and I'd just put my head on the pillow, and then the light would come back on. I'd be like, "Are you serious?" But the big thing for me, and I will never forget this, was that I lived in a suite, and my I was told day one, do not ever close your door. Do not lock it. Don't do anything with it. It had a hook on it, that, like, this huge hook that held the door open. They were like, "We do not have a key to this. If it goes closed, it is a huge thing. We will send you the bill." I'm a poor college student. I go, "No, thank you. I will never close the door." And I had had a really, really crappy day, and I'd gotten in the shower, and I came out of the shower, and the door was closed. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I jiggled it, and and eventually it opened, and I was like, "This is weird." Fast forward another 2, 3 months later. And all this had been happening with the lights. I would get phone calls on my landline asking for Rebecca, and then white noise, and then it would hang up. All this weird stuff. So we called our ghost Rebecca, naturally.
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And after another really, really bad day, I get out of the shower and the door was closed again. And I went, this is not bleepity bleep bleep funny. And I slapped the door and I looked at the door handle and the door handle turned and the door opened. And it never happened again.
Okay.
And I can't explain it. There was nobody in the room. I put the hook back on and I just went, thank you, Rebecca, and continued with my day. So I am convinced I lived in a haunted dorm room. There are there's multiple stories of that dorm hall being haunted by a woman. So I like to think that she just really liked to mess with me.
It sounds like it to me.
That is entirely probable.
So,
So, well, that's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff that is extraordinary and it, well, because, it's not normal, therefore it's paranormal. But the physicalness of it is a poltergeist by definition, and that's German for loud ghost, right?
Yeah.
So meaning it can manipulate things, and that's rare. And to have it become something where you actually have connection as well, like you've made a comment and a reaction comes from it, is intelligence as well. So there's that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Question I have for you: did you get it on video?
Oh gosh, no, we didn't even have cell phones, or
All
just,
right,
I think that was when I first got my cell
all
phone,
right, all right.
and it didn't even have a camera. It
Uh-huh.
was like,
All the good stuff happens off camera.
yeah,
Trust us. We, as investigators and people in the field, we try to capture everything. And
Mhm.
it always seems, though, with our home gig at Booby's Brewery over in Mount Joy, the very first night we were there, we did an investigation with just our team. We didn't bring in anyone from the public yet, just to make sure we wanted to make sure there was activity there first before we decided to even commit. And we had just bundled up all our stuff, put it away.
Mhm.
One flashlight was left on the edge of the bar, in the Alois bar, the original bar of the property. And I huddled the team together, just did a quick, kind of huddle up everybody, great night, good job with everything. This was so much fun. And then we heard the bang of it hitting the floor, the flashlight, and it rolled literally. We saw it roll under a settee that's still there outside
yeah,
the one room, the restroom door. The catch is the bar has an arm rail, piece, and it's wood, and you have to literally go. That flashlight had to go up and over to get to the floor, and there was no gap for it to fall through, even if it just started rolling on its own, which it was not rolling before. So either way, it moved.
yeah,
Mhm.
So, and that's when we all just kind of looked at each other, and then first thing I said is everything's put away, isn't it? Because off
yeah,
camera,
Right.
off audio, and that's when we knew that we had something. And for us to go forward, as a team, here we are 5 years later, still investigating the place on the regular. So, uh,
Mhm.
it is that everybody has a catalyst moment to get involved. Something happens, and
Mhm.
I'm not saying everybody should. Anytime something weird happens, it's paranormal. That's certainly not the case, because there are plenty of things that are normal we're just not paying attention to. An HVAC system kicked on, a car went by and cast some shadows, the house settles. We were in West Virginia Penitentiary up on the upper floor, and it's got a flat metal roof, and it was the end of the summer, so it was hot. And as the evening is coming on and the temperatures are dropping, the ceiling, the roof is contracting from the heat, and it's popping and rippling, and it sounds like someone's up there moving around, but it's literally the material on the roof. And you have to know that, kind of, you have to be aware. you know
yeah,
but to see a door handle move when there's no one there,
That is.
and manipulation of other stuff when there's no one there, the light switch coming on in a closet, no less. I mean, unless somebody's really good at rigging something on the other side somewhere, messing with you. Did you have an arch enemy by chance in college?
not that I know
But
of.
you never know until it's too late, right?
Yeah, I mean, theater is competitive, but I don't think it was that competitive. Um,
So, listening to this, Jamie, I think we should get Megan in touch with Jeff and Sean from Penn State. Uh,
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
we've had a couple weeks ago. We had Jeff and Sean on from Penn State, and they are uh, Jeff is an American Studies professor at Penn State Harrisburg,
American Studies and folklore, to be clear.
and folklore. And I was going to say one of his specialty is folklore, and they're doing a research project on folklore and the supernatural.
Wow,
So,
that's
And
amazing.
capturing experiences and interest of individuals in the field.
so,
So
so,
That's
and it sounds like maybe this is an every year event for you guys. So maybe it would
yeah.
be a good connection for you to have.
I
So,
would love that. That's
so
always, and that's one of the things we love is working with our community partners, whether they're Penn State, whether they're Creative Works, anyone that we can work with. We are always open to it.
very cool.
well, so this, so that was one of my questions. Is this a every year thing for you? It sounds like
It
it's
is. Yeah.
okay.
So we've done it consistently the past 3 years. We had like 1 year off before that, and we did it the year before, but like in general, we really do try to keep this consistent,
Hmm.
especially because every year we do it, it grows, which I think is amazing.
Okay.
Like where we're at right now with ticket sales. So do get your tickets. They are going quickly. We're already pacing ahead of where we were last year at this time. So it's really
Good.
exciting to see that word of mouth, things like this get us out there. And it's also just fun. Like, this is the time of year where, like, I mean, I'm not a huge winter person. I'm like, this is the last gasp of me being in nature for a few months. So, like, come see the beautiful changing leaves of Mount Gretna. Definitely come and check out the show, get your spooky on. Like, it'll be great.
And I mentioned this earlier, but this is you're going into your 99th year.
99th year.
So,
Yes.
so that means next year is going to be a big year for you guys.
Yes.
So
I feel like we've got 2 big years. I feel like 99 is always big because you're, like,
we're
ending
right
a
there.
Yep.
century, and then 100, you are knocking into the new one. So, we've got so much planned, and we're really excited to be able to share it when we finally can.
Very good.
That was a question I was going to ask too, of course. And yeah, what does the schedule look like? I'll wait. I'll wait. Well,
We have announced our, season for next summer, so we
okay.
do have that, but we haven't announced the 100th year. So, I
Ah,
will hold off and direct you to the website for the 99th year. We also have some really amazing off-season events. We have a gala that we hold in the spring. That's a big event where we're going to party like it's 99 because why not?
Hmm.
And that's a huge fundraiser for us. So definitely check out the website, social media, things like that
Hmm.
for more information.
and I do
So,
want to
well,
pull one thing in here before Chad, where you go.
uh
Um, the question from Bert here, Megan, have you had any experiences at the theater?
So I have not had any experiences at the Playhouse in Mount Gretna. I have had some in other theaters I've been at, but not this one. Usually at the last theater I worked at, every now and then I get the smell of tobacco, pipe tobacco,
okay.
which was weird because we're not allowed to smoke there. No one knows. And I would just like smell it and be like, "Mm,
But
it's
they used
odd."
to be able to smoke there, I bet.
I bet you could, and it was
You
also an
couldn't
old
stop them.
barn at one point, so I think, like, from the late 1700s, so I would not doubt that somebody was smoking somewhere at some point,
Hmm.
and I don't think it was teenagers in the bathroom, so
Probably not. So,
So we covered. I'm going to say we keep saying we did the stuff, but there's an episode on superstitions back in season one, I believe, and there are a ton of theater superstitions. So
Yes.
in that episode, Chad's youngest M was a guest and an actor, right? So knows theater, and
Mhm.
covered all of them. Well, created a list and covered them with the feel of an actor presenting, and it
Yes.
was a really fun episode.
hmm.
Um, and with that there's a lot of things that go into all of this with theater. Like it's more than just the physical production.
Mhm.
You have there's I mean obviously we have a ghost light, and that's not necessarily what people think. It's safety, right? We get that.
Yeah.
Because we want to see where you're on stage, you don't fall off.
Yeah.
But the other
Yes.
things, like why we say break a leg, why flowers are presented, there's so many things that are unique just to
Mhm.
theater lore that
Yes.
don't fit into other stuff very well.
And we are a superstitious bunch, like,
Hmm.
there
I was going to
even
ask if you have
our
any specifics for yourself.
actor, so The one that was always drilled into me was about whistling on stage. You just do
Yep.
not ever.
Mhm.
No, don't ever. And I remember doing a role at one point where I had to whistle on stage and like looking at someone and being like, no, and I,
Well, you don't want those sailors to get called back to their ship, and you know.
Right.
yeah.
You lose your rigging.
Right.
Exactly.
So that was one that was always, and then there's always the classic of you never say the Scottish
I
play.
was going to ask if you say it.
You
Yep.
got yeah, you gotta just do it unless you're actually performing it. Because if you don't, then
Yeah.
it's gonna be a very weird production.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
Fair enough.
so
We do these things, and sometimes we do them out of mind. We're just because they're what you're supposed to do,
Right.
and okay, fine, and but there are so many that are rooted in something significant, like something could happen to you, and there's a consequence if you don't, or you do either way.
Yeah.
That actors are and producers and production folks are a different lot sometimes.
And it
what
really
do you mean,
does.
Jamie?
I said it nicely, Chad. Okay, you're weird. Okay.
And it does contribute to that thing that we were talking about earlier of that oral history, because everyone has that thing of like, well, I did XYZ, and then this happened during that production.
Hmm.
And so it feeds into that of why we keep
Exactly.
passing it on to the next generation.
Yep.
So,
But that's that. If you had a great production, you repeat the breakfast you had, and wear the same
exactly.
socks or whatever,
Yeah,
and
don't
I get
shave
it.
your beard like athletes or things like
Yep.
that.
Same story.
Everybody
Yep.
has it. Yeah. So,
Well, well, I want to be respectful of time. We've been talking for an hour. It doesn't feel like we've been talking for an hour.
not
So,
at all.
but I do want to be respectful of your time. So this is your opportunity to share, about the theater. Shameless plug. I do have. I'm going to bring back up the show name and
Yes.
the website I shared. But it's gretnatheater.org /shows if you want to see what next season is.
Yes.
But take it from here. Where can we find you? Where can we find more about the theater? You were talking about social media.
Yeah, so we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on TikTok. We are located in the beautiful Mount Gretna. We are located above La Sagal. If you're looking for a box office right now, we are not in the Playhouse, which is a little confusing to people. We share the Playhouse with other organizations, so we are not there currently. But if you want to come see us, we are on the second floor of La Sagal. And then this starts at the amazing Porch and Pantry. It is going through the beautiful woods of Mount Gretna. It is gorgeous and creepy and wonderful. And if you love theater, come see us. If you love the spooky and the paranormal, come see us. If you just want to support amazing local artists who spent their time writing the show, performing the show, lighting and sounding the show, just come out and come see us. And you'll see me there almost every single night. And I love to say hello. And as you can see, I'm a talker. So just get me started on a topic and we'll go. We can really hit this pretty hard.
Mm.
So
Bert showed it's close to Ice Cream Shack.
Ah, Bert,
yes, the
Bert.
famous Jigger Shop is the ice cream shop. I do not think they will be open when we are there, but if you know where it is, you can find us.
Hmm.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, the Jigger Shop. Oh, such a spot.
It
So
is.
Well, Megan, I want to thank you for spending the last hour with us.
Ew.
It's been great, and maybe we can do the same sort of thing next year. But maybe we can do a remote and meet you on stage or something like that, and
We would
do
love
more
that.
planning. Yeah. So
Absolutely. We love
we sort of threw this together in I want to say the last minute for us, which has been a month, which is not last minute for you, but
that.
but we have a year to plan for next year, so I think I'd love to
Yeah.
and do it there. And
Absolutely. And like you can we can, take the walk and you can kind of see where you go. And also just experience it because I'm sure that you will probably pick up on some stuff that's unique to Mount Gretna.
it sounds good.
there's a lot of unique in Mount Gretna.
Oh yes.
There is a lot. Yes. So perfect.
So, all right. Well, if you can hang on for a few minutes, Jamie and I are going to wrap up. But we want to talk to you a little bit off camera, and when we wrap things up. So,
Yeah.
all
Thanks
Be right
for
back.
having me.
right.
Of course.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
All right. Wow, Jamie, I'm excited. I can't wait to go see and experience this. So,
Yep, me too. I have my tickets already. I'm in.
all right. So let's talk about what's coming up. That's not where I
That's not
expected.
the right one, but hey, it's close. It's
Uh,
close. There's stuff happening there too.
yeah,
So yeah, next week on September 9th, I'm going to move ahead on this
this is not the right one.
just a little bit.
Wow.
This one's way old.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll we'll ju-
I
we'll do
know
it.
what we're doing. So we're
That's
gonna do.
so.
Uh,
I was so excited about tonight's show that I forgot the topic or the the promo slides.
it's all good. So we're gonna do something next week. Whatever it is, we'll find out later. So big surprise.
Next
Um,
week is the
yeah,
Forbidden City.
yeah.
So
So Forbidden City, we're going to wrap up Ghost Month in China. Represent there, so I'm really excited for this one because I think it's obviously a fun topic. You know, China is one of those places where the Westerners don't get to know a whole lot. So, a little sneak peek behind the veil, if you will, pun intended on the veil, but really cool. And then coming out of that, Mount Shasta is coming up as well. So. Go
yeah,
back to the
we
West
were
Coast.
playing a little bit with the schedule because of you possibly traveling and
Oh, I'm not possibly. I'm definitely
but
traveling. So yeah.
yeah, but when
Yep.
you're traveling and all that.
Yep. We'll cover that in a little bit. So, but us investigation wise, there's still a few events left this year.
Hmm.
We're in spooky season. It's in full swing. Once we get around here to September.
Yep.
So our next investigation is on Saturday evening,
There's
27th.
one ticket left.
There's one ticket. This is incorrect.
This
So
is
it's
incorrect.
all but sold out, but we're so close. And hey, maybe we can squeeze an extra one or two in. So we're not
Hmm.
going to argue. But don't wait if you're interested in joining us at Booby's Brewery, Mountjoy, PA. You know, and then on the 11th and 18th in October, two other dates coming up in full
Hmm.
spooky season. There's still some tickets left there, but they are going quickly as
Yep,
well.
yep. There's 10 left for the 11th and 4 left for the 18th.
Whew, oh my
So,
goodness! All
um,
right,
and
and then
one other change to the schedule, our December event is probably not going to happen on the 6th, and we don't know what's going to happen there.
yeah,
So,
there's been a conflict, a scheduling conflict with the brewery there for an event they already have, or another event they have. So we might be moving back a week. So we'll share that when we get a little closer, so a couple months out. But November 8th really does wrap up spooky season,
mhm.
and that's coming up too. So there's tickets available there as well. And here's how you find them. So the Booby's Brewery website, boobiesbrewery.com, and then you can find all of our information on Linktree, which is linktr.ee, and then / paranormal lens, all spelled out.
Mhm.
So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the good stuff where the content is. Obviously, you found us here on your favorite streaming service or Facebook or YouTube tonight in this very live event. Uh, Speaking of live theater, here we are. We do live theater every week,
We
right?
do,
Sort
yeah.
of, sort of. It's probably not as entertaining, but oh well, you know. But in that, give us a like, give us a follow. If you are interested at all in having a topic for an upcoming episode, we are certainly willing to do listener submissions, and that can be sent to us at paranormallenspodcast@gmail.com or via any of the links in the episodes. Just leave us
Mhm.
comments there, and we'll certainly all see that. So no problem there either way. But with that, this technically is a listener submission tonight with
It is.
Heather providing us the lead. Hey, it started as a hey, this is cool, check it out,
Hmm.
and it led to a full blown conversation and some wonderful folks at Gretna. So
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to Megan one more time because it takes a lot of time, talent, and treasure to put on productions. Anything, and being willing to put yourself up there and saying, hey, let's go. Lead the way is really cool, and I'm so excited to see this product in the next couple weeks. So
Hmm.
if you haven't yet, consider it. You need your spooky fix. Get it on at Mount Gretna. Come for the production. Stay for a little while. There's lots of other things to do. The porch and pantry, of course. The hideaways nearby. I just wish the Jigger Shop was open. Dang it.
You'll have
Uh,
to go next summer and see shows next summer,
I know. I
and go
know.
to
There's no problem with that.
yeah.
But
So,
I need my whoopie pie sundae.
so
Man,
all right. Well,
danger, but good.
yeah. Definitely. Again, thanks to Megan. Thanks to everybody who joined us tonight for the first time through Gretna. We appreciate that. Do you have any final thoughts, Jamie, before I wrap it up?
Like we always say, go out and support the local arts. Get engaged. If you can't go in person, send a gift card for a friend. Just get out there and support any way you can. It's well worth the time, energy, and you'll always take something away you didn't have before you got there. So enjoy.
All right. So, as Megan and her team bring Whispers in the Dark to life, we're reminded that some of the most haunting experiences don't just come from spirits, but the stories we dare to tell. So, until next time, stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night.